On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Crazy decisions have been made. Many things have happened over the past, 3 days. I've been busy, been tied up. I was actually out at, we're celebrating a couple buddies' birthdays. Mine was reasonably close to theirs too, so we all went out and had a wonderful time out at Catalina Island. I didn't really tell anything about it because, frankly, I can't. It kind of creates a security nightmare, but I got insane number of emails from people asking me what happened and all that. Here's the thing, guys. You guys know I'm going to make a video. And if I don't make a video, give me the benefit of the doubt. I'm probably okay. If something happens, we'll figure out a way to get a message out. But all said, got a lot going on in the world. A lot of things have obviously happened. I was a little shocked to find out I was not looking at news at all on my vacation. I had a very good time, by the way. Very good time. Let's get going. Let's get it started. I got a lot to cover. I want to start right here because this is actually a really important spiritual truth. And I think the way they write this out or say this is powerful. And it is sort of, and this next slide is going to kind of make sense with this as well, but this is sort of kind of what we're going through right now. In many ways, the dark night of our soul. Kind of. And we're experiencing that because of where we're heading, what we're heading into, what's going to happen. So check this out, and then we'll get this covered a little better. Try to get this covered.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but your ability to create the reality that you want is directly determined by your willingness to experience its opposite. Saving money will have you feeling broke, while it's actually making you rich. Setting boundaries will have you feeling alone, while you're creating new healthy relationships in your life. Digging up your trauma will have you feeling broken, while it's actually healing you. Working out has you feeling weak, while it's really making you strong. Learning something new makes you feel dumb, while it's making you more intelligent. Your ability to attain the thing that you want is directly correlated with how willing you are to experience its opposite. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable to truly achieve success. You got this.
And they're 100% right. And that is what we're going through. We're going through that version of opposite. And we are experiencing the horribleness of what is leading us to the good. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. And I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time, but we'll get there. Elon Musk posted this, and I felt that this is in sort of what we're going through. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And that's where we're at right now. Weak men have created where we're at. And that's creating hard times, which then in turn creates strong men. And that's what we need in this country right now is more strong men. And the only way you can get more strong men is to go through a weak time. And that's what is happening to this great nation. Here's Joe Rogan kind of saying some powerful stuff. I think this was his new Netflix special, maybe? I don't know. He looks kind of young, but whatever the case is, I like Joe. Whatever the case is, here's a pretty funny little bit he does, and I think is kind of telling for where a lot of people are right now. Not just him, not just you, not just me. I think a lot of people. And not wanting to attach yourself to the crazy of it, but you still bring it up anyways. It's powerful. It's a powerful approach. It's something I do a lot, actually. It's a very powerful approach. Bring a lot of things up. People kind of go where their minds are going to take them. You didn't necessarily have to say anything. Now, I talked about this. I wasn't even remotely surprised by this. I even called this out, I want to say, on Saturday's show. Maybe Friday, don't remember. After defeating all the women, the two biological men in the Olympics female boxing, the two biological men are going to be competing against each other for the gold. That ought to be interesting. I don't know which one I think's going to win. I kind of think this guy's going to win over this guy in the women's boxing Olympics gold medal. I don't know, which guy do you think's going to win the women's boxing gold medal? I'm curious. And by the way, this really bugs me that we've gotten to this point and that so many people are so afraid to stand up for how far we had come with women's rights. I mean, hell, we got women into Boy Scouts for crying out loud, which it kind of bugged me, to be honest with you. But whatever, right? We were putting women everywhere. There was no reason not to. Women can do the same thing. Same sports. We got all this great stuff going on. Well, now they're ruining all that. And all the progressive people are sitting on their hands because they're afraid to say anything because they might piss somebody off. This is literally how you watch a country get destroyed. Now, again, this has created some strong men and strong women which is what we needed. This was the only way to get there. That's the funny part. That's actually the funny part. That is the effed up part about all of this. We could not have gotten to stronger people without going through this bullshit now. It's weird how it works, but it's how it works. Now, I don't know how long ago the opening ceremonies was. I feel like it's been a couple weeks, but I swear to God, like so many things have happened in my life in the past, like a couple weeks. I can't even tell anymore. I am so broken on like assessing time and how much time's elapsed. It's really, really hard. But the Vatican broke its silence Saturday on a controversial drag performance that mocked Leonardo da Vinci's iconic Last Supper photo, right? Or the painting, really. The segment of the July 26th ceremony controversially replaced the biblical scene of Jesus Christ and his apostles sharing a final meal before his crucifixion with drag queens, a transgender model, and singer dressed as Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and pleasure. The Vatican said that the performance, which sparked global outrage, showed a lack of respect for others. Heavily. Anybody that's even sort of religious. That was hugely disrespectful. Now, here's the funny part, and you know it, I know it. They did it on purpose. This wasn't, oops. No, this was intentional. So the Holy See was saddened by certain scenes at the opening ceremony in the Paris Olympic Games and cannot but join the voices raised in recent days to deplore the offense done to many Christians and believers of other religions. Like, one, little pissed it took the Pope this long, by the way. Dude, Mr. Pope, I know, I'm Catholic. I was brought up Catholic anyways. Okay, so I'm going to poke fun. I can, and I'm going to. I don't think this dude's got the hotline to God. I talk to God all the time. I don't need him to do it. So, again, I've strayed a little from my religion, sure. Still, the fundamentals, I think, are important. All said, finally he comes out. About damn time, dude. About blessed time. Dan Scavino Jr. posted this. 3 weeks ago, bullets from a sniper came flying into a Trump rally, almost killing President Trump, killing a supporter, and injuring others from a rooftop 130 yards away. 3 weeks later, not any closer to answers or accountability. Bullshit. What is going on? Here's Devin Nunes torching the FBI. Beautiful thing.
Well, I would say at least maybe those 3 FBI agents knew that it was actually a bullet that hit President Trump. So maybe that's progress. 2 weeks after the fact, Ray still didn't know that. I think there's disagreement in the ranks of the FBI. I think the rank and file agents know that President Trump wants to establish the FBI as the world's premier law enforcement agency. And on that point, Marie, I think what's still left out there is that here we are 3 weeks later, we don't know jack about the shooter. And this is unprecedented in U.S. history to not know anything. Nobody's interested. Nobody's finding out who his friends were, who his parents are. Nobody's trying to interview them. We've heard nothing. And I think that is a big stain on the FBI. And I think it leads right back to Kamala Harris and Biden, who have been using the Department of Justice to target Trump since he left office.
Wow.
Yeah, right? I mean, this is coming out. This is getting worse and worse for them. They're not able to hide from this anymore. They're not able to ignore it. They're not able to do any of the crap they typically do. And here's, I forget who it is, Speaker Johnson, talking about how this is basically the largest cover-up ever. And it really does make you kind of wonder who was actually behind the shooting, kind of.
Does Kamala Harris bear some responsibility for what was covered up to the American people up until last week when Biden was forced out?
Dana, it's the largest cover-up in American political history and the most damaging and consequential. She knows, Kamala Harris, of course, knows. She's spent a lot of time with him. She boasted about how she was at his side all the time, making all these terrible policy decisions, by the way, which is why she clearly is the co-author and the co-owner of all this disaster. But she knew, of course, she was meeting with him regularly. She knew he was not on his A game. And she and other leading Democrats went day after day, time after time, onto the news stations and looked into the cameras and told us a lie. They said, oh, he's on his A game. He does runs intellectual circles around us. I mean, listening to them, you would have thought he was going to compete in the Olympics. They knew it wasn't true. And they hoisted a dramatic and really impactful lie upon the American people, gaslighting everybody day by day. And they painted themselves into this corner where now they have Kamala Harris as their nominee for president. I think this election is going to be about policies, not personalities. And you line up the policies and the records of the Trump administration and the Biden-Harris administration side by side, it is no contest. And everybody knows that.
It is no contest. And again, this is, to me, the most troubling thing about this. Every politician, certainly all of those on the left, have been praising Biden right up until it was obvious they couldn't keep praising Biden. They said he was fine. They said everything, but now all of a sudden he's in decline. Now all of a sudden he's not strong enough to run another term. Though we're sure he's not strong enough to run this country, things are definitely falling apart. He's not helping at all. In fact, we've seen some of the worst stuff happen during this administration ever in the history of this country, frankly. And it's getting worse. We're definitely going to talk about that. Got some new whistleblowers talking about the lead site agent in charge at the assassination shooting. What was up with him? Let's hear what Hawley's got to say about this.
Hawley's been speaking with these whistleblowers, and he joins us now. Senator, what have these whistleblowers been telling your office?
Well, what they've been saying, Jesse, is that this individual, the site agent, the lead agent, was known to the Trump campaign to be inexperienced, to be ineffectual, to be, frankly, incompetent at their job. Well, I'm also told by whistleblowers that on that day, she was not enforcing the normal security protocols. She was not checking people's IDs. She did not use Secret Service agents. Most of the agents there that day were not Secret Service agents. They were Homeland Security agents. And get this, Jesse, most of them had never worked a rally before. And yet this is who she chose to staff the event with, and she didn't train them or integrate them. From top to bottom, it was a total disaster. Jesse, it is a miracle, not only that Trump is alive, but that more good Americans were not killed. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing that this only went this badly. And certainly, it is definitely, in my opinion, a miracle that Trump was not killed because he turned his head at the last minute. Last minute, you saw it. And they were expecting to shoot him live TV. Powerful times. A lot of people talking all sorts of I don't want to say crazy. I don't know. I'm all over the place, and I entertain all these thoughts. Like I one thing that's very different about me than a lot of people. This might be a thing that you guys are going to dislike, or it might be something that helps you understand how I approach stuff, maybe. But one thing I don't do that a lot of people do is I'm not interested in figuring out exactly what happened. And the reason is because it's extraordinarily difficult. The 80-20 rule. You can spend a reasonable amount of time and you'll get 80% of the way there. But then it becomes extraordinarily more expensive, time-consuming, or whatever to hit that last 20%. You might be able to get 10% more and get up to 90, but then it starts to get really hard to be sure, to prove it, to have that. Now, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily require proof. They'll read something that someone claims happened from an anonymous source, and they'll be like, yeah, that works. I like that. I think that's true. But you don't have any facts on it whatsoever. So again, it's hard to assess what actually happened. We know for sure there was an assassination attempt. And we know for sure that the deep state, well, it seems, I'm going to say I know for sure, at least at this point, the deep state's behind it. And we're kind of seeing who the deep state is because they're the ones that really aren't being forthcoming with the information, are they? No. And it's also the deep state that is crumbling right now, and their entire system is crumbling. Donald Trump posted this. Numbers really bad. Major recession a real possibility. Fox News put that out apparently. People are seeing the reality. They've been shaving numbers, fixing numbers, massaging numbers for 3-4 years now. And the fact is, shit's starting to fall apart. Japanese stock market is crashing. This was, again, Monday. I think Sunday night going into the futures. Well, probably late Sunday because they're way ahead of us. So here we go, Matt Couch is saying. Stolen elections have consequences. Trading has been halted. Buckle up. It's about to get rough. Zero Hedge posted this. Koreans can't short Kospi, so they're shorting Bitcoin. So their stock exchange suspended trade after they hit numbers. That's almost all stock exchanges have that. Things happen too quickly. They shut it down for an hour, and then if it happens again when they open it back up, they'll shut it down. I think they do 2 or 3 times before it shuts down for good. I swear like we've been through one of the black whatever days, and they actually had to shut it down, I think, for the whole day. I don't know if we're going to see that, if we did or not. Crypto even collapsed. Ethereum was down 21% in 5 minutes. Bitcoin was down 11%. Here's the problem with Bitcoins. It's the only problem, okay? Because It works kind of fine, and it's a good investment tool if you got in it a while ago. And the reason the price keeps going up is because people, countries really at this point, there's large organizations and countries that are actually parking some cash in Bitcoin right now. And when large amounts of money go into Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin goes up pretty significantly. And then at some point, when they've managed to get enough of you guys out there to be like, dude, Bitcoin's awesome. It's really expensive right now. It's obviously a really good thing to buy. And then you go out and buy it. It helps price go up a little bit further. Then these guys sell their billions or millions and transfer it into some other currency, whatever, maybe back into the dollar, who knows, maybe back into something else. Maybe they buy a stock with it because there are places that let you use Bitcoin for stuff. But that immediately takes that money out of the system, and that drops the price. And so when it's countries and companies that are utilizing Bitcoin, the movement in the price can be large. When they pump in a bunch of money, price goes up a lot. It's a great time if you already bought in before those companies did. If you bought after the companies did, you're an idiot. I'm not calling you an idiot. I'm just saying that's how it's going to work out. And that's the problem with crypto. The fact that it's not actually a physical thing. And there's a lot of people, I've mentioned this before, and I don't want to waste too much time, even though I already am. There's like, you always see pictures of the little coin, and it's got the little B on it, right, with the dollar signs through it. That's not real. There's no such thing as a real coin. And I don't fully understand the mining stuff, but they're not literally mining for coins. It has to do with data mining. It has to do with the dress that they've got. You know, for this, there's a specific, hashtag of numbers and letters and whatevers, the address, if you will. I'm totally drawing a blank on the proper term, but that has to be found. Like there's more missing Bitcoin, but they don't know what the actual location is or whatever. So they're trying to mathematically figure that out. That's really what mining is. It's just machines that are basically chunking through math, trying to figure out how to find the right blockchain. There we go. So the friggin' stupid thing I was missing. So that's what it's about. There's certain blockchains. They're trying to find the next blockchain address. They mine for the blockchain. It's all digital. It's digital mining. There's nothing physical about crypto at all. Some have artwork and stuff like that, but I'm Bitcoin and Ethereum for two, and there's others. Zero physical component to it whatsoever. It's literally you're investing in something that doesn't actually exist. Right, wrong, and different, whatever. That's the truth. Roz Alerts put this out. Nearly $1.2 billion have been liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in the past 24 hours. That's what I'm talking about. This is going to happen when deep state people, criminal enterprises, large corporations, when they move money, it changes things significantly. They never tell you. They're never going to tell you. You will only find out after they've done what they've done and after a whole bunch of other people have gotten out ahead of you, and then they'll let you out. Crypto's a weird thing. Stocks are kind of the same, but at least stocks are sort of a physical thing, kind of. Precious metals is down a teeny tiny bit, but still really up. Gold sitting at $23.95 at the second. Or that's the ask price. The bid is what, $23.94.50? All right, so it's $1 difference, whatever. Silver's at $27.15. Now again, silver was back at 23 and change back in March. Gold was back around 18, 17 something in March. And look where they're at now, and they're only going to continue to go up. Only going to continue to go up. Donald Trump, stock markets are crashing. Jobs numbers are terrible. We are heading to World War III. We'll get there, definitely are. And we have two of the most incompetent leaders in history. This is not good, one could say. Japan down 12%. India down 6%. Germany way down also. U.S. really bad. This is a preview of the world markets without Donald J. Trump in the White House. None of this happens if Trump is in. Kamala and the markets don't go together. She'll destroy the markets. She's in power now, and look at what is happening. 1 week of the fake media saying better polls, and you get a market crash. The legendary Howard Lutnick. Here's talk about the market sell-off.
History in the making.
What some would call history in the making.
Don't say that. We have never been down 1,000 points ever, not even intraday on the NASDAQ.
Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. I'm down 6% right from the get-go. This is heavy big tech. Here we go. Look at them go down. Microsoft is down $20. That's 5%. Alphabet, 5%. Meta, 6%. Amazon, 6%. Apple, 9% down. Let's pull out.
Let me just real quick, because you get the point, but let me just point out real quick. Every one of you that has a 401k or an IRA that's managed by like Fidelity or some large company, right? BlackRock or any of those, Vanguard, any of those guys. I've actually got a funny little picture that's going to show some interesting customers that were down today, or down Monday anyways. I think it was Monday. Again, off 2 days, sorry. It's really hard to catch up to. It's a pain in the ass, especially doing a news show that's daily. All said, Microsoft, you're invested in that. Alphabet Inc., you're definitely invested in that. Meta Platforms, you're invested in that. Amazon, you're invested in that. And Apple, you're invested in that. And by the way, Apple went down. It was down 9% at this point when this was going on. I'm sure it recovered some of this. But this is what most of our 401ks and IRAs, this is a part of what you're invested in. Your portfolio probably took a shit yesterday. Or, Monday. Yeah, yesterday. Again, still losing. Trying to catch up. Just trying to get back in sync with everybody. I was on an island for over a day. It was like I was in island time, baby. Calls grow for an emergency Fed rate cut. So now they're just desperately trying to get the Fed to cut rates as the only means to sort of salvage the economy before the election. It will be interesting to see if the Fed does it, because it will also make inflation way worse. Way worse. This is, without a doubt, a double-edged sword that will likely screw the Biden administration in all sorts of different ways. So we'll see if the deep state can fix this. They're obviously in charge of the Fed. The Federal Reserve is the deep state, or it's a deep state bank owned by private entities. Literally. They're in charge of our money. That's who we're racking up debt to. $1 trillion every 100 days and less now is to these families. Not to China. If China buys our debt, which some countries do, they buy treasuries and stuff like that, which is essentially us trying to monetize our debt to an effect. Some of them haven't been buying stuff lately. In fact, a lot of the auctions have been far short of what they're supposed to be. So it's not going like they want. Donald J. Trump says Trump cash versus Kamala crash. This was posted out. The Biden administration announced a plan to target plastic pollution, dedicating particular focus to phase out single-use plastics, such as kitchen cutlery, cups, and straws across federal departments. President Biden announced this order taking aim at the climate crisis in July, which would require an all-hands-on-deck response from every federal agency. Our economy is essentially in a starting of a crash. And what's he worried about? Climate credits and getting rid of plastic forks, plastic straws from government offices. That's going to make everything better, isn't it? This is where their focus is. As the walls come crumbling down, they're not worried about getting hit by falling debris. They're like looking at hey, but have you noticed the mosaic of the tiles on the floor? They're eloquent. Like, what? What are you focusing on that for right now? The building is coming down around us. I know, but the tile work is so nice. Have you seen it? No, I'm busy. So here we are. Statement from President Joe Biden on Gene Sperling. Apparently this is his economic advisor. Gene Sperling is departing the White House today. Huh. Weird. You mean your economic advisor is bailing once the crash starts? Like, job done. I'm out. Peace. And just drops the mic and just do. Really? Really? That's how you're going to roll, huh? Okay, Biden. Okay, I didn't want to say anything. Just point it out. Marjorie Taylor Greene mentioned this. When was this posted? August 5th, yesterday. Okay, yesterday. So yes, this was during Monday. This is the other thing I want to remind you of. Guys, I've been talking about this, and I forgive me a little, because all the people that were prepared for this, you're stoked, aren't you? All of you guys that have already taken advantage of I'll put it up, drslikesgold.com. We're going to talk about it, of course. Why wouldn't we? But everyone that's already taken advantage of it, that's already gotten out, for however it played out, you're stoked, aren't you? You're sitting pretty right now. Here's another funny thing to point out. These are the different websites that were down yesterday when the crash was happening. Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, Ameritrade, Lumen, E-Trade, FPL, UPS, CenturyLink, Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, Spectrum, If you notice, 80% of those, I don't know why I went that way because there's only like 12, I don't know, like 9 of them, are actual trading companies, actual people you'd be with if you were invested in a 401k or an IRA. Isn't that strange that when everything's crashing and they're doing their best to get their butts covered, they keep you from being able to do the same thing? It would make me pissed if I were you. I'm telling you, folks, if you've got a 401k anywhere that's not in a precious metals 401k, well, those are IRAs, right? So if you've got a 401k or an IRA that's based in stocks and cash, get out as quick as you can. Get out now. The stock market's not going to necessarily get better. Might get a teeny bit better for a second, but it is not getting better overall. Long term, stock market's coming down, period. It is. We know it. There's some major companies that have been bloating the stock market for a long time, and those are deep state companies. The S&P, that's like 7 or 8 companies of the 500 that everybody invests in. The other 493 don't matter that much. Those 7 companies are all deep state. All of them. And I've said before, like, my normal job is with a deep state company. I feel I'm healing it from the inside. And I'll be honest, we're not as deep statey as some places, but we still do a lot of deep state stuff. No question about it. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Oh, you're not going to let me do... Oh, I already did something maybe. Maybe we don't get the coins anymore. Maybe the coins... Oh, there we go. Coins are still a possibility too. If you've got a 401k and IRA, I don't care if there's $5,000 in it. I don't care if there's $100,000, $1 million. Doesn't matter. Take your money and run. Get your riches. You got to know when to fold them, know when to hold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. I think we're at the run phase. Get out, tax-free, penalty-free. Go sideways into Precious Metals IRA. Precious Metals been doing awesome. People are actually making money, not just like up, but they're actually up so much it's up higher than inflation, which means they're gaining purchasing power. It's actually an extraordinarily good investment vehicle. Precious Metals are doing very well, and they always do during times like this. And this is why so many people are pushing this kind of stuff right now, because it's literally a good vessel. Get out of their system. They can't use your money to invest in their schemes if you take it and run, can they? You're not a part of their scheme anymore, are you? When you take your money and transfer it and run. Are you still helping them? Nope. Not at all. Maybe they help with some of the mining. I don't know. That's possible. But ultimately, you're moving out of their system into precious metals that have been doing very, very well. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. I don't know how many more warnings we get before any sort of bottom kind of drops out, but there's a huge expectation. 30% drop, and that's being really conservative. There's worse out there as well. There's some people that say it's going to go more than half. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I think we're going to see some major companies that are going to either get bought up by others or divided up into pieces, and other companies will sort of buy into that. That just might be what they have to do to maintain some of these. We've got some great patents, some of these companies, right? So you definitely want the intellectual property. You want to keep the IP. So they'll figure out ways to sell off a lot of this stuff, but ultimately these companies are probably not going to do very well. Huge transitions coming. Make sure you're on the right side of the equation. Don't be one of these people that's like, it's seriously waiting. We've talked about it. I've said this for months. And here we are playing out. I'm not making this up, folks. I just some of the movie's pretty obvious. This is part of the obvious part to me. Like, this system has to come down. Just not an issue of it's going to because we've got Kamala running things. No, it has to. They're going to blame it on Kamala, and Trump will be involved in the fix. He will. So before he's literally sworn into office, some crazy shit's going down. And right now the deep state's trying to make wars. We're going to talk about that too. But seriously, folks, if you got any money, if you got some cash in the bank and you're like, I could make more, right? Maybe you're making decent money right now. Buy some precious metals. Seriously. It's a way to transfer some of that across and actually make some money on the deal. DRSlikesgold.com. I've done this with them a bunch. Buy precious metals. They send them straight to you. It's awesome. If you get the IRA, they put them in a trust. You get physical metals, but they're in a trust. They don't send it to you. They can't, because that would be the same thing as cashing out. So you'd pay taxes and penalties. So that's why you go sideways on it. They put precious metals in a physical trust. They literally get those precious metals before you sign anything. So everything's solid and real. If you've got cash, They got precious metals already. They literally just send them to you. They take your cash. Life is good. You get it in the mail, and bada bing, bada boom. You've got some precious metals. Stick them in a cool place, and just make sure you don't brag about it, because that's a big mistake too. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their freaking system before they get out of you. And we just saw a good chunk of that. We saw a taste of that. All right, so Camel Harris. Oh, sorry, I misrepresented her there. I apologize. Camel Toe Harris. Much better. Camel Toe Harris secures the Democratic presidential nomination, so that happened over the couple days I was gone. She became the first woman of color at the top of a major party's ticket. I guess they didn't want to necessarily specify which color or whatever, but Elon Musk replied to this. How many citizens democratically voted for her again? I think I missed that part. Yes, this whole idea that she's secured the Democratic presidential nomination. They're all about democracy, yet they didn't once give a shit what any of their constituents said. Harris has picked her VP choice, this is why I'm glad, because they've been saying the other dude for a while. I forget which governor it was. It doesn't even matter, but it's kind of funny. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Why do people sit there and speculate? Everybody was wrong. I don't remember seeing anybody mention Walz. He might have been on the list, but never talked about him. Nobody saw this guy coming. Why? Because he's so ridiculously progressive that probably nobody thought she would be crazy enough to put herself, who's one of the most progressive left-leaning senators ever, to pick one of the most crazy left-leaning governors ever to join her. And I love the fact that he's a fucking 1,000 years old. Are you shitting me? This dude's like 1,000 years old. And this is who she's choosing. One, because she doesn't have to worry about him taking over. And, I don't know, two, it's a white dude. Isn't that funny? That's funny. Again, so we got some trash on this dude, though. So he chose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be a running mate. Walz 60 emerged as a dark horse contender for the number 2 slot, as chatter over the high-profile names. In Pennsylvania, Shapiro was the one they kept talking about. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, and that's all that people were talking about was those two, because they actually made more sense, to be honest with you. This guy makes no sense. But the Minnesota governor saw his profile rise considerably over the last week, especially after a viral cable news interview in which he decided some Republicans as weird, a line of attack later adopted by national Democrats. So he was the one that made that up, I guess, that we're weird. And as people have said, I'd take this weird. I shared that guy's video recently. It was very funny. I'll take the weird call out for all the crap you guys are doing right now. Totally. You guys just bang up Olympics entry story there and a little startup show. Yeah, we're the weird ones. I got you. No, it's cool. Doing drag shows in front of children. Totally, we're the weird ones. I know. We don't want to do that. We think it's wrong. I know. What the hell? Actually thinking parents should have rights over their children? Yeah, we're the weird ones. I totally get it. Michael Watley posted this. Kamala Harris / Tim Walz is the most radical far-left ticket in the history of our country. In 2020, Walz led rioters burn the Twin Cities. Then Kamala stepped in to fundraise for the bail to get them back on the streets. You guys remember that, right? She was involved in the thing to get them out of bail. She still shows up on their website. Did anyways. Eventually get around to taking that off. This ticket puts criminal ahead of citizens. Donald Trump will put America first. Here's some more stupid shit from him.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
And who's going to get the votes if he does that? If all these immigrants that come in can just drive? First off, that's scary. You should not be able to. And then second off, it makes you seem like a citizen when you're not. That's problematic. Some more other fun stuff we've got here. This is, again, the driver's licenses for all. Motor, voter, and automatic voter registration. So that's the other side of it. Is not only does everybody get a driver's license, but they've got an automatic thing. When you get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote. And what we've found out in the registration system, I don't know if it's this tab or another one, is that nowhere in there does it allow or ask about your citizenship status, whether you're actually a citizen or not. Nowhere in their registration does that actually appear. So it seems like they don't even care whether you're illegal or not. This is Tim Walz. Put all this stuff in. Here's more of him admitting he's a socialist. He's admitting it. I'm not putting words in his mouth.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Yeah, let's call it neighborliness. Let me give an example of what I think Tim means when he talks about neighborliness, just as an example.
For the peace and the generosity, the kindness and the love that's been shown on our streets of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and across Minnesota over the last several days. And last evening was another example of that. We saw peaceful protests across the city. We saw memorials continue to grow for George Floyd down on 38th in Chicago. We saw beautiful interactions on the state capitol, where out of respect, the National Guard troops there told the protesters out of respect they would go back away to the building and just take care of those vehicles that were out front, which of course they did. Not protesters at that point, certainly neighbors and friends and agents of change.
Neighbors burning down each other's homes, right? Like, oh, I love it. I guarantee if I got one neighbor in this neighborhood that plans on doing that, we are going to seriously have some words. To catch anybody out there trying to light a match to my house, I don't see that going over well. In fact, frankly, I'm 100% sure none of my neighbors actually want to burn my house or their houses. It doesn't seem very neighborly to me. Jim Banks says, I served my first 2 years in Congress with Tim Walz on the House Veterans Committee. Walz opposed the most important pro-veteran legislation passed in decades just because it was President Trump's. The Mission Act was very bipartisan, but Walz opposed giving our veterans better access to health care because he didn't want to give President Trump a win. Keep in mind, this is the same guy who wants to give illegal aliens free health care and driver's licenses, not people that have taken bullets or been in service for this country. No, not you. Fuck you, man. No, I'm talking all these illegal people. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I want to give them all sorts of free shit. Not you, though. No, gross. And, by the way, black community, yeah, you ain't getting shit either, are you? Chicago knows that. This is what's turning Chicago's the black community. I think this ticket's screwed. And I think the continuation of just hammering Walz and Kamala, their track records are ridiculously bad. Both of them. Insane. Trump's press secretary hit the nail on the head, that's for sure.
With this decision choosing Tim Walz, she has proven just how dangerously liberal she is. Tim Walz is one of the most far-left governors in America. Much like Kamala Harris, he supports wide-open borders. He supports sanctuary cities. In Minnesota, he signed a bill giving licenses to illegal immigrants. Tim Walz, like Kamala Harris, is soft on crime. He also supports the defund the police movement. In fact, in Minnesota, violent crime has increased by 21% since he has been governor. And like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz is anti-American energy. He signed a bill to ban carbon-based fuels in Minnesota by 2040. That is a threat to our national security. That is a gift to China. If Americans want to know what a Harris-Walz America would look like, look at the streets of Minneapolis in the summer of 2020 when they were literally burned to the ground. Look at the streets of San Francisco. Their liberal utopia is every American's worst nightmare, and we'll spend the next 92 days ensuring every American knows how radical the Harris-Walz ticket is. Caroline.
Well done. Can't even top it. Trump-Vance statement on Kamala's selection of radical left Tim Walz. It's no surprise that San Francisco liberal Kamala Harris wants West Coast wannabe Tim Walz as her running mate. Walz has spent his governorship trying to reshape Minnesota in the image of the Golden State. While Walz pretends to support Americans in the heartland, and when the cameras are off, he believes that rural America is mostly cows and rocks. From proposing his own carbon-free agenda to suggesting stricter emission standards for gas-powered cars and embracing policies to allow convicted felons to vote, Walz is obsessed with spreading California's dangerously liberal agenda far and wide. If Walz won't tell voters the truth, we will. Just like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz is a dangerously liberal extremist, and the Harris-Walz California dream is every American's nightmare. Morgan Ortega's put this out. The Biden-Harris administration has set a new record for the most embassy evacuations of any presidency in U.S. history, topping Obama's 8. But it doesn't stop there. A whopping 16 nations have faced coups or had governments toppled under Biden-Harris. So things are not good at all under the Biden-Harris world. Insider paper reminded us of this. Latest developments in the world. Markets across the globe crashing. U.S. recession fears spark sell-off in international markets. Oil down. Crypto down. Stocks down. Iran preparing to attack Israel. We're getting there. Bangladesh PM resigns amid deadly protests. We're getting there. UK riots. Getting there. And protests in Venezuela. Actually, don't mention it. So here you go. There's your mention. Attorney General Andrew Bailey put this out. Update, I am demanding all communications from the city of St. Louis and Kansas City on the transportation of illegal immigrants by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris into Missouri. It is a felony to knowingly transport illegal aliens through Missouri. We will obtain answers. This is one of those things where so many lawmakers are like, we need to pass a law to make sure this doesn't happen. There is a law. It's illegal to do what's happening and to knowingly do it. And you know they're illegal. You can say whatever you want about their path or whatever the hell, but they're illegal, though. They're not here legally. And in fact, that's what makes it illegal. Kamala Harris has never said Lake and Riley's name out loud or any of the other American citizens killed by illegals she let into our country. Say their names, Kamala. Blood is on your hands. Kind of strong terms, but very true. Unhinged George Stephanopoulos. Do I have the time for this? All right. I'm going to play it at 1.2 speed. He's so pissed off, and I think Byron Donalds does such a bitchin' job. Does such an excellent job. It's worth it. Anyway.
And you just repeated the slur again. And if it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity? She's always identified as a black woman. She is biracial. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There are a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue.
Sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
Why do you insist on questioning her racial identity?
You want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
George, now that you're done yelling at me, let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people, or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe? Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain, and that's what matters more than anything else.
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George,
keep
actually,
on repeating
I'm not
it.
the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now. That's
You've done it, sir. You've done it. You've done it 3 times. Every single answer you gave me. Now let me finish, sir.
George,
every single answer you gave, you repeated the slur.
Asked me, George. That's why I'm pushing back on you now. George, you asked me the question 3 times. I responded, but I'm.
And every single time you repeat the slur, that is exactly my point. You simply can't say that it's wrong.
George, so then what you're saying, and I want to get off this topic because it's not the only thing that's going on. But George, now you're saying that AP is the one that slurred Kamala Harris, because those are the facts. You can go to the internet and look at the clips, George, if you want to, or we can talk about this now. I prefer to talk about the future of our country, because the American people are struggling. The American people do need serious policy decisions to be made, and they need serious leadership on the world stage. Kamala Harris has not proven that she can do that. Donald J. Trump has proven that he can do that.
AP did not say that Kamala Harris is not black. She is biracial. She is Indian. She is black. You continue to repeat the fact that you continue to repeat the slur. I don't understand why you and the president do it, but it's clear you're not going to say that it's wrong. And you've now established that for our audience.
Well, then, he's a little pissed off, isn't he? And, yeah, frankly, that's fine. Let him be pissed off. I almost did play it. Yeah, this is one of those things. Kamala Harris refuses Fox News September 4 debate with Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. She's afraid to go to a debate where the questions aren't given to her in advance, because she will get destroyed. Destroyed. if it comes down to anything. Tulsi Gabbard rocked her world, and Donald Trump, and I love Tulsi. Donald Trump would destroy Tulsi in a debate. Tulsi knows it. She'd admit it. Donald Trump is going to eat her up. There's no way. There's no way. They can shut mics off and all they want, all that crap. Trump would be able to say too many damaging things and bring actual facts. He's too smart. He's able to carry too much shit inside that melon of his. I don't know if it's as big as it looks or if it's just the hair. It's hard to tell sometimes. President Trump has claimed that the Meta owner, Mark Zuckerberg, reached out to him and let him know that he admires Trump's reaction to the attempt on his life and that he would not be supporting the Democratic candidates. We don't need to hear a minute 43 of it. I love Trump, but it's longer than it needs to be. Greg Bluestein. I don't know, that's what happens when you have sex with a Smurf? I don't even know. I didn't know where I was going to go with that. Happening now, right now. Trump is meeting with black business owners ahead of his Atlanta rally. He had that, I think, last Sunday night. Several say green energy regulations and inflation is killing their bottom line. We'll be back. Trump says we'll be back where we are, but better. Here's also Trump talking Supreme Court on Monday. They declined to intervene in the long-shot lawsuit brought by Missouri attempting to block the legal proceedings in former President Donald Trump's hush money case in New York. The court rejected Missouri's bid to sue the state of New York, meaning the justices will not lift the gag order or delay sentencing in the unusual claim brought by the Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, a Republican who is running for full term this fall. I honestly think, and this is just my take, all right? This isn't what I want. This isn't what I'm trying to create. This is what I think is actually the deal. I think they're definitely going to, I think they're going to actually consider putting him in jail. I do, because of when the timing of this will be. It would literally mess up his last month of being able to campaign. But I also think what needs to happen as well is these people need to be on record doing this ridiculous thing. Now we'll have a case history. Now we'll have an example, and there'll always be this in the history books. Whenever we have any sort of law stuff happen, they'll refer back to this case, and this case, and this case. These Supreme Court justices, one, know what they're doing, but two, if you're a Supreme Court justice, like the biggest, stokest thing you can ever have is your legacy to live on as a vote on something and offering your praise or dissent or whatever. It's interesting, I think. I don't know. You guys can call me out in the comments. Hey, by the way, if you want to help the channel and never spend a dime, hit that thumbs up. That's all you got to do. Hit the thumbs up. Wherever you're watching me, hit the equivalent of the thumbs up. Makes a big, big, big difference. And if you aren't subscribed, please go to one of the places that I am all the time and subscribe. Rumble's my preferred choice, but wherever. I don't care. Any of them. I mean, like I've said before, they're all fun, and I have huge respect and love for all of them right now, except YouTube. I'm just there because you kind of have to be. And we're getting along right now. They've made it really easy to trim stuff out they don't like. It's kind of cool. We'll see. Who knows? Ukraine destroys airfield, fuel depots, sub, and overnight drone attack on Russian regions. A massive drone attack walloped, they say, the military command center in Russia is using its war against Ukraine on Saturday. This overnight barrage destroyed ammunition plants, fuel depots. Supposedly they hit this airfield, and I thought that there was in the story we're talking about how they took down some subs or something too. That might be a different story, but whatever the case is, there's a lot of stories coming out too that says that Ukraine, or Kiev, is specifically telling eastern Ukraine to get the hell out of Dodge because things are probably likely going to get ugly. What we found out, multiple loud explosions were heard in Ukraine's Kyiv after the air raid reports. So apparently Russia did hit back. Don't have a lot. Didn't find a lot of stuff around Ukraine. So we'll see. It seems to be building. I'm kind of wondering if it's being over-reported, the damage that Ukraine did, but it's very possible. They did some pretty hefty damage. Every once in a while, it seems like Russia does get punched in the face once or twice. They're overwhelmingly, I think, destroying Ukraine and generations of people, which is so sad. All right, so Israel got a lot of crap going on here, and things are definitely looking down. Or that part of the movie, like, folks, they want a nuclear war badly. So deep state's trying to cause a nuclear war. Good guys are trying to keep it from happening, and there's good guys, I think, in a lot of these governments. I don't know what's up with Iran. I have not had a chance to hit up my couple Persian friends that I have asking about this new leader. So I don't know. We'll see. And I don't necessarily want people emailing me because I don't necessarily know you're Persian. You can say you're Persian. That doesn't mean shit. I have people tell me their stuff all the time, and I don't believe them half the time because they don't sound like they're actually what they claim to be. So, again, I don't like that. That's rough, right? So don't even Don't waste our time. That's stupid. I do have some Persian friends I know. I'll ask them. But 9 UN employees fired after investigation into ties to the October 7th attack. So they finally did go after those people, and they finally did fire them. But the fact that there were actually UN employees that partook in the October 7th attack is concerning. It talks about what I've said before, too. The peace people, they put the fake flags, the medical one, what's the American Red Cross, or they're one of the worst. They smuggle stuff all over the place. Like, these are companies that the deep state has used openly. The ones with the pluses on it, dude, that's the Swiss. Hello. That's why it's neutrality. All right? Isn't that the Swiss flag? Don't they have the plus thing on their flag? That's neutrality. So they make ambulances that, right? I'm telling you, this is how they roll. So that 9 of the UN people and this, whatever this facility was, were involved directly with the attack. Donald Trump posted this: "Let's all continue to keep the American hostages held in Gaza in our thoughts. They must be brought home." Eden Alexander, Omer Nutra, Hirsch Goldberg Poland. I'm probably saying these wrong, I'm sure. I apologize. Sagi Dekel Chen. That can't be proper, but that's funny sounding. Kith Siegel. All right, that one's maybe. Who knows? Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York. You guys know of the one of the members of the far left squad. They're all being sued in this weird class action lawsuit. It's kind of interesting. They're going after her for the anti-Israel protests and the encampments at the Columbia University earlier this year. Apparently 5 students filed this, which I love. I hope one of you guys is in my audience. That's just, I pray. Even if not, someone rippled. They got 6 degrees of what's his face, right? Kevin Bacon. We got 6 degrees happening here. One of you all rippled to somebody that rippled to this guy, and then he rippled to somebody, and then Kevin Bacon saw it. And so, yeah, we're winning, folks. Kevin Bacon's getting overwhelmed right now. Overwhelmed. Let's keep up the work. Keep up the ripples. We'll make it happen. These 5 students did file this lawsuit, though. They're being anonymous right now because they're freaking obviously smart. But they're going after all of those guys, the whole squad, the entire squad. Yes. Here is some Israel shooting down some missiles shot from Lebanon. Yes. The Iron Dome's pretty cool. I will be honest, though. I'm going to be extraordinarily pissed if I ever find out if it's like that game Missile Command. You guys remember that Missile Command? You had like 3 buttons and a trackball that damn near pinch your skin sometimes. Dude, if that's what it is, I'm going to be so pissed. Hope it's better than that. Iranian leaders have vowed to retaliate. On Saturday, Iran told Arab diplomats it didn't care if the response triggers a war, according to people familiar with the conversation. We're also finding out the underground bunker in Jerusalem, where senior leaders can remain for an extended period during a war, has been prepared by the Shin Bet security service, the Walla news site reports. Got some cool names. So they're preparing for an extended war. They're trying desperately to start World War III. I don't know if it does start. I don't know if a nuke's used. I don't think nukes are supposed to be allowed to be used, so I will be surprised, but I'll have to have egg on my face if that happens. But I do not believe nukes are allowed. I believe we have help in that regard. So how they do this is going to be interesting. I think they're using a lot of conventional stuff, and it's just it's not working like they want. Like, we've got too much technology to shoot down a lot of stupid stuff. Nukes are pretty gnarly. They do a lot of damage with one missile, you know? You just got to get that one thing in there. Iran has rejected all negotiation proceeds made by the U.S. and Arab countries. Nope. Iran's like, F you all. Giant middle fingers across the board. Nope. You're out. We have to set an example, and whatever they said, whatever we do, says we will have to set an example so it doesn't happen again. Somehow this is us, or we're behind it deep state-wise. And I'm going to say that very couched for a reason, because I think we definitely have some deep state components in our military. Okay, whether they're good people or not, I doubt it, because CIA, evil bastards that do evil things are evil people, okay? And those people gravitate towards some of these interesting jobs. Evil people will do whatever you want. And that's powerful when you're someone that likes to pull off covert things. Like, you want to make somebody disappear. You got a guy that's like, I'll do it, no problem. I enjoy doing it, right? Like, that's what we've got. So there are forces that are not good people that are in our beloved armed forces. So I don't just give blank passes, just like, unfortunately, my good Jewish friend got pissed at me because I don't just give a blank pass to Israel. No, Israel, you've got some douche holes also. All of us do. So nobody just gets a blank pass to do whatever they want because, no, we need to scrutinize everything they're doing and make sure it's okay. Now, Iran has informed its neighboring countries that it's preparing to attack Israel. President Trump, he's hearing they're going to attack. I don't know. I think this came out. Yeah, this came out yesterday. Trump saying this attack would happen next day, which doesn't seem like it has yet.
I'm hearing there's going to be an attack tonight by Iran of Israel. They're going to be attacked tonight. I'm telling you right now. I hear it just through the same waves. There's no top secret information or anything. Right. But I hear that Israel's going to be attacked tonight. If I were president, nobody would even be talking about that word because it wouldn't happen 100%.
I would assume that has to be that Iron Dome stuff that I was playing. That was Israel's attack, which would suggest to me it wasn't as an effective attack as could have been possibly. I'm hoping that's how this is measured, but we can possibly deflect it. Apparently, we're sending a lot of stuff into the region, though, right now, because how else do you have a bigger war?
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, the US bolstering air defenses in and around Israel, sending additional cruisers, destroyers and another squadron of fighter jets to this region after Iran promised to severely punish Israel for those 2 assassinations in Tehran and Beirut last week. President Biden announcing those new defensive measures for Israel on the phone to Prime Minister Netanyahu over the weekend, with the president calling their phone call very direct, saying the killing of the leader of Hamas in the Iranian capital had, quote, not helped the chances of getting a ceasefire in Gaza. A former Israeli general telling me he thinks Iran and Hezbollah will attempt a more decisive attack than that mass barrage of Iranian drones and missiles fired at Israel in April. The US rallying allies. President Biden expected to talk this morning with King Abdullah of Jordan and then gather his security team in the Situation Room this afternoon.
So, again, things are moving in this weird direction. Now, here's the thing that's supposed to anger you. And this is why I couched my phrase earlier. Rockets fired at Iraq's Ain al-Assad air base, housing U.S. forces, security sources say. 2 Katyusha rockets were fired at Iraq's base on Monday, which hosts the U.S. and other international, right? So not clear if the attack caused any casualties. Well, we've come to find out in ABC News, ABC, probably the worst. Remember, they're the ones that agreed to the next debate. And Trump's trying to get it over to Fox because that debate was agreed to between Biden and him. Trump's like, I'll still destroy him, even if he knows the questions in advance. Kamal's different. Kamal's a different game. We got to use different tactics. And that agreement was not with Kamala, though Kamala keeps trying to act like it was. It was like, no, it was to Biden, and you guys kicked him out. Your voters didn't even get to vote on it. And now you're telling me his agreement's your agreement? No, it's not. Never was, isn't. It's not how stuff works. Just because Biden signed something doesn't mean that's my signature too. No, it's not. Retard. And she, I think, might be retarded. Russian emissaries visit Tehran at a tense moment as Iran asks for military aid. Yeah, supposedly they're asking for stuff. What the sources are saying, it sounds like they're going to give it to them, but they're talking about giving them some better missile technology. And I think that is because, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we talked about it when it happened. But there was the talk of Iran going after the nuclear site, right? That was going to be the retaliation for like the 300 missiles or whatever the shit they shot, which like 97% got shot down, which is very strange, by the way. Almost impossible to believe. And the ones that maybe made it through and landed probably didn't land in places that mattered, right? Like probably very few did damage, maybe a couple because they needed a little of that for the TVs. But seriously, this is how they think, guys. It's true. So, interesting that we've had these small attacks, sure, and they've been able to be saved, but now they're talking about putting... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I lost my train. But the response back, Israel, instead of hitting the nuclear site, they actually hit the missile defense part right next to the site. They hit the missile defense radar or something over there. They didn't really tell us what it was. It's kind of top secret, sort of, like probably the radar. They hit that. That was the one that was guarding the nuclear base, which showed them, we can hit your nuclear base, dude. We can hit your thing. Don't do it. Don't go there. I kind of think this is where the military is the only way forward. I think this is why we're pushing forces into the area. It's like to contain this so it doesn't go nuclear. You guys are pissed at each other, have a little fight, have a little tiff, do whatever the hell you got to do, and then stop. Russia's kind of a different story because they're actually one of the ones that are meant to help with this process. And so they're having to fight off a direct component of the deep state. That's why that seems to be continuing, because the deep state can't lose that channel, and Russia's not going to stop until they are destroyed. Deep state knows that. So this is kind of how it's playing out. What we're seeing in the movie is kind of a different story, of course. Yeah, no, we're about to go to nuclear war. Totally. We're going to all die. Every one of us. All of us. It's going to suck. It's what you want. They want you to think. Iran International English, the Iranian Aviation Organization, issued a NOTAM, no flying basically, on Tuesday to warn pilots and aviation authorities about the risk of gun firing activities in western Iran on August 7th and 8th, setting the danger zone up to an altitude of 12,000 feet. So anti-air stuff is going to be fired at missiles coming in. Those missiles coming in and get shot at, right? Those bullets, if they don't hit something, you just keep going. So they're kind of telling people, yeah, if you fly low, you'll probably get shot down. You don't want to do that. So they're telling us the days, 7th and 8th. It's probably when the attack's coming. We'll see. UK is going through some really weird shit right now. You guys probably following this, maybe you aren't. Major riots going on, and it seems to be very much the immigrants against the white population, I guess. This feels very Soros-backed, but anyway, there's some crazy... So much craziness. So much craziness. Now, these guys do seem pissed at me. I feel like I had a better video than that one. Oh, great. Can I get off here? There we go. It's tricky sometimes. But yeah, there's fires going on. There's major burning. There's attacking people that are white, which always pisses off white people when you say shit like that. Not necessarily wanting to do that at the moment. I don't want to make this a race thing, but that's kind of what's up. It's the immigrants versus the non-immigrants. The people of England, guys need to, again, it's the socialist parts of all of our existences that are essentially kind of, it's so bad because if they're listening, they're going to be bummed, but I'm going to say it for everyone else, but they're kind of morally broke. They're into forcing behavior. They're into forcing stuff. They're into trying to force people or trying to harm people. They want to harm white people because they see us as the enemy, especially men, white men. Ooh, we're the worst. Right? Like, that's what they want to do. None of us that are on the conservative side or center side or just close to the center or just sort of human, none of us think that way. We freedom. For the most part, we want to allow you to do all the crazy shit you do, progressive person. It's just, we can't let you continue to push our countries or world into the direction you guys are going. It's evil. It's wrong. It's communism. I don't care. You're short-sighted. You don't get it. You don't understand. You've been brainwashed. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I mean, I love you. I respect you. But I think ultimately this is the part of the movie that's meant to wake them up. That's just why this is going to be the hardest part of the movie. Because you guys you see it. They don't. And I'm not, I know a lot of people are like, well, it's too late. I know. That's, God's in charge of that, man. That's all I can say. Right? I trust in God. And I know it's working out exactly as it's supposed to. But damn, it's scary. So yeah, some crazy shit going on out there in the UK. Russian ambassador to Japan, Nikolay Nozdrev, which sounds like such a Japanese name. He remarked that the U.S.-Japan alliance is creating a nuclear threat to Japan's regional neighbors. Oh, he's the ambassador to Japan. Oh, he's the Russian guy. My bad. I misread that. Like, too many words. Anyway, that dude says this alliance that United States and Japan have is causing some danger in the overall alliance. The TAS News was reporting this, is causing a little frustration in the entire nuclear world. I think this is our way of trying to do something with China. Kind of wondering, because China is supposed to be one of the poles. There's supposed to be 3 basic poles on this planet now, no longer just us, but there's actually going to be 3 separate power bases, and we're going to eventually learn to work together and probably start building stuff that we can use in space and actually really take our society to the next level and just be incredible. So much technology that's been hidden from us guys that, it's going to be friggin' awesome. It's going to be awesome to live through. It's going to be amazing. And people talking about med beds, that kind of stuff I think is not far away. I really don't. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. A lot of the power issues, I think, is where we're at. And then I think once we've got that, then we've got the power to compute and power to... I think that's our biggest problem. And there is free power. There's ways around that. There's so many little things that are puzzle pieces that are missing intentionally. And we need to understand that. It's just tough. We got to work through this. But yeah, they're worried about this relationship, apparently. We'll see what happens. North Korea has deployed 250 ballistic missile launchers to its southern border. Kim Jong-un's like, hey, just saying we want to defend our sovereignty. Now, again, North thinks that they should be in charge of the entire peninsula, and the South is like, no, F you. You guys are jerks. You guys suck. We don't like that at all. There's prisons and stuff. No, I don't want to do that. Not at all. Thank you. I like this whole freedom-ish kind of thing we got going on. So 250 ballistic missile launchers. That's not, I don't know why Russia's not talking to them. Or is this China, right? There's so many deep state things going on right now, and I think this is one of them. I think this is one of those little douche-hole deep state moves. Meant to maybe defend. I don't know. Meant to, again, we'll see how this plays out. It's so hard to tell who's who. I feel like the way Trump's talked up Kim Jong-un, there's actually a chance that he might even be, I don't know, might be part of the solution instead of the problem. And I don't know. And I think when Trump approaches somebody from that angle, you're you handle things very, very differently. Now you're like, oh, you're giving me the respect I want, yet at the same time you're asking me to help. Oh, this is awesome, right? And it fires you up. No pun intended, talking about missiles. Military in Bangladesh has been seized by a coup by the military. Army Chief General Waqar Uz Zaman, he's announced he will lead a military interim government. So here we go. Let the games begin. Again, more of this type of stuff has happened under the Biden administration. You know it's not under Trump. I know it's not. We all know it's not under Trump. We gotta take it day by day, and we gotta get through this. Folks, I'm telling you, you want your animals to live longer. I've got a way that you can do that, and actually very inexpensively, to be honest with you, especially when you go to reviews. When you go to the reviews and you listen to what people, Playa's new, cool, they're putting some fresh reviews in here. I can't thank you enough. My little Yorkie, Playa, was near death. He had lost so much weight and could not hold food in. I was about to spend thousands at the vet that I did not have to, and felt completely helpless in my best friend's fight. His coat was dull, his eyes were dull, he had no energy, and he had the worst smell in his fur and breath, and yet no answers to why. Came down to him needing extensive blood work and x-rays. Playa is on the second bag of mush puppies for seniors. The first week I noticed he had regained his energy and was trotting when we took our walks. By the third week, I noticed the shine in his coat returned as well, as the twinkle in his eyes. By week 5, the odor in his coat was gone. By week 6, his bad breath was gone. And we have an occasional accident here and there, but nothing like I was cleaning up before. And the taste, my picky boy loves these so much. Sometimes he'll just carry one around in his mouth, but twice a day at mealtime, I grind up his cookie and I pour the mix and powder in his food. Thank you. Thank you for what seems to be the reversal of about 4 years. He is as if he's 10. He has his life back. I have my friend back. Now, I say all this, and there's more. This is a new one. I had to talk about it. But I say that because the mush puppies are not expensive. Go to the dog section. There's cats version of it too. They got cat mush puppies, by the way, or mojos. I guess you don't have the mush puppies. Yeah, the cats are just horses, and cats have mush puppies, mush ponies. Different mush puppies. All right, mush puppies are like 16 to $22. They're not expensive. This is an easy way. And what this comes down to, and there's all sorts of studies. They've got that on that first page too. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. You have a cat. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. The food as well. These super sauces, they've got that for cat food as well. They've got easy ways to get this ingredient I'm telling you about in their bodies, which is all you need to do. And it tastes great. It's not like it's bad. I have gummies of it. It's awesome. Tastes great. The way it's mixed in with food, and it's with quality food too. No chemicals, no all that crazy stuff. What's actually healthy. But these mushrooms, these Coriolis versicolor mushrooms, over 400 studies talking about the health benefits of them. Whole bunch of people talking about the health benefits of them. Literally. She says she gave her a dog, and that dog seems smart. Playa seemed pretty small. So he got 2 mush puppies a day. And we hear how he turned around. I'm assuming Playa's a boy. I don't know. Made sense, though. Mush puppies, easy way to get in. They've got the freeze-dried food. Oh, my God. Look at the ingredients on the stuff you're feeding your animal. Okay? And think about the toys, too, by the way. Toys are made in China. Mostly they have lead and shit in them. Not good for your animal. You should seriously stop buying toys from just random places. Or really care about the quality, which they've got, by the way. Antler sticks. Got small, medium, large, all that stuff. And really what these are is it's minerals. The antlers are made up of minerals. So when your dog's chewing on the stick, your dog doesn't give a shit what the stick is. This stick actually grinds down. They actually wear it down, so it does what it needs to on their teeth. Makes them happy. And it gets minerals in their body. Good minerals. Super good minerals. So again, what you're feeding your pet matters. They got dog biscuits. They've got foods, dried, canned, freeze-dried. They've got the sauces if you've already got good, solid food, but you want to make sure they got that in there, and this is a way that they might love it. Just squeeze that onto their meal once a day, and there you go. They got plenty of extra versicolor, Coriolis versicolor. Friggin' hard to say, right? And the mush puppies is a very common way to go. They got a supercharged version of it. Seriously, go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com and make that first step and try, because you're going to see, I think, similar results to what a lot of people are seeing. And the funny thing is, they have a tab for humans. The same has been shown to be true with humans. There's been reduced cancer growth shown in many cases. There's a lot of interesting benefits that happens. That's why I've been taking them every day. Now, I smoked for 21 years, and that was kind of why I sort of do. I don't know of anything wrong in my life, so I'm not freaking out. I'm actually doing this preemptively, but I know what it does. I understand how it helps. And I'm like, well, how could that be a bad thing, having something floating around in my body that's already looking for cancer if there is any, right? Taking it down before it starts. So that's the Enforce, one of the best ones you got. Got a few of them. Got all sorts of choices. They've got Restore. They've got the gummies, which I've got right here too, and I've actually opened them up. They're delicious. I've been kind of doing both. They're kind of the same thing. Clarity helps with your mind. They got some coffee that doesn't have all the chemicals in it. Amazing products. The cookies I haven't tried yet. I've got the bag right here. I need to eat them before they go bad, but I'm sure they're delicious. I just don't eat cookies a lot. Might try to trick the girlfriend into trying it out. She's weird about doing stuff like this, though. So anyway, dogs, cats, whole thing right here. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. It's a first step, and it's not a very expensive first step. You're helping the channel, helping yourself, and there's a husband and wife that we're going to have on, the owners of Pet Club. They're pretty awesome. They're really nice. I got to talk to them before I started my whole thing. That's how literally I was kind of approached, was sort of like I got to talk to them. Think about that. How often do you get to go to the top of the company when you're working with them? That's how awesome these guys are. It's incredible. All right, all said. Novak wins the tennis in the Olympics. I'm not going to play 3 minutes. I mean, if you love Djokovic, it's awesome, because I think it's so cool that he won, especially him being one of the final people to the vaxes, right? They got kicked out of all sorts of stuff and still went back and kicked ass. This dude is exemplary of greatness. Remember, hard times create great men. Here we are. I sort of lump myself into that. I may not, there's some that are great, but we're all trying our best, but it comes down to it, right? I sleep at night pretty comfortably because I know we're making a difference. So yes, he won. That's fantabulousness. What do we got here? Yes, okay. Open letter to advertisers. This is actually, believe it or not, coming from the person we hate, but we don't, and I kind of been sort of giving her points. Linda Yaccarino was brought into X because she is an expert when it comes to bringing advertising and revenue and fixing problems that exist. Linda did not realize the reality of what she was facing, what Elon Musk was truly facing, I think, or maybe hasn't publicly stated such. But she's actually got insane experience. She's a very good choice for what she's doing and what her fight is. And here is the next step of her fight. Every day, hundreds of millions of people came to X to be part of the only global real-time conversation. They came to share their thoughts and hear others. to share their contents and see more, to debate and be debated, to entertain and be entertained, to inspire and be inspired. There is no substitution for X. The power of this community to bring global conversation to life was the reason I was so excited to join X as CEO in June of 2023. After a career in media and advertising, I thought I had seen everything. Then I read the U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee's report entitled GARMS, which stands for Global Alliance for Responsible Media. GARMS Harm was the name of this report. The report disclosed that their investigations had found evidence of an illegal boycott against many companies, including X. As their report found, evidence obtained by the committee shows that GARM and its members directly organized boycotts and used other indirect tactics to target disfavored platforms, content creators, and news organizations in an effort to demonetize and, in effect, limit certain choice for consumers. The consequence, perhaps the intent of this boycott, was to seek to deprive X's users, be it sports fans, gamers, journalists, activists, parents, or political and corporate leaders, of the global town square. To put it simply, people are hurt when the marketplace of ideas is undermined and some viewpoints are not funded over the others as part of an illegal boycott. This behavior is a stain on a great industry and cannot be allowed to continue. That is why today, X has filed an antitrust lawsuit against the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM. The World Federation of Advertisers, the WFA, and GARM members CVS Health, Mars, Orsted, and Unilever. This is not a decision we took lightly, but it is a direct consequence of their actions. The illegal behavior of those organizations and their executives cost X billions of dollars. Since arriving at X, I made it my mission to continue to build a platform where people, brands, and advertisers can thrive in our unique, dynamic, and safe environment. And because of this commitment to our users, even despite the boycott, usage has reached all-time highs. Using a Twitter legacy metric, users' active minutes in August 2022, people spent 7.2 billion active minutes on the platform. Today, that number is more than 9 billion, a 25% increase. The same is true for video. Even compared to last year's, daily video views are up 45% to 8.2 billion. X is innovating and growing. We have met and surpassed the requests made by advertisers and groups such as GARM for new tools, both to improve advertisers' controls and the effectiveness of our products to drive increased value for our customers. We have proven our platform provides advertisers a way to showcase their brands and reach their target audiences safely, efficiently, and effectively. That's why I've worked in good faith with marketers across the globe to showcase our innovations and allay any concerns with brands whom I partnered with for decades. The unfortunate reality is that despite all of our efforts, hundreds of meetings and research to the contrary, many companies chose to dismiss the facts. To those who broke the law, we say enough is enough. We are compelled to seek justice for the harm that has been done by these and potentially additional defendants, depending on what legal processes reveals, It also clears that there are likely others who suffered at the hands of this activity. This case is about more than damages. We have to fix a broken ecosystem that allows this illegal activity to occur. We will continue to innovate and ensure X has a vibrant future, while the courts will hold accountable those who engaged in illegal behavior. To all of you who have been part of this transformative journey we are on, thank you. Rest assured, we will not stop defending our global town square. Kind of made me like her a little bit more. Rumble hopped on this lawsuit. I'm sure others will as well. Probably Truth will as well. So we'll see others hop into this, and this is going to be pretty powerful and very cool that this is happening. Elon Musk posted this. I strongly encourage any company who has been systematically boycotted by advertisers to file a lawsuit. There may also be criminal liabilities via the RICO Act. It is time this is kinetic, in my opinion. A lot of people think of kinetic on the streets. No. Information war and, to a degree, legal warfare. I don't know if that's really tied into the 5G concept, but it should be. Because that lawfare has been a huge part of that. Maybe that's 6Gs. I don't know, but I don't think so. We'll see. But he's right. This is the place where, we start to make the changes and start to turn things around. We don't have to wait for Trump to do that. We can start a lot of these turns early because it's going to take time, and we should. Jim, with the House Judiciary posted this. At Jim Jordan reveals non-public information on Google issues with search and autocomplete surrounding the assassination attempt of President Trump. Google actually admitted that after the July 13th assassination attempt on President Trump, predictions for queries about the assassination attempt against former President Trump should have appeared but didn't. Google also admitted that the autocomplete was not showing President Trump's name in response to searches for this particular individual. I actually tested it too. I believe I used DuckDuckGo, but DuckDuckGo actually uses Google's backend. So, I mean, it tries to, I think, take some of the brakes off it, and it tries to control some other stuff, if you will. And I like the results of it generally, but this played out exactly that way for me. So I know there's some truth to it. U.S. judge rules Google has a monopoly on search in DOJ lawsuit. They actually paid like 26? Yeah, they paid, wow, damn. I thought it was million. Holy crap. 26.3 billion in 2021 just to make sure their search engine is the default engine on the smartphone. I wouldn't be surprised if, what's the one you guys got on your Apple devices? That browser probably uses Google as a backend. Maybe not. It wouldn't surprise me though, because Google by far is the biggest search engine, and they're paying $26 billion. That sounds like money that you'd pay to Apple, right? Wouldn't you? Make sure that your Safari browser is using Google somehow on the back end. Could be. This is an interesting story. Air Force veteran Ashley Babbitt's $30 million wrongful debt lawsuit is going to be heard by D.C. court on August 6th. Judicial Watch is amazing. I agree with that. The nonprofit organization filed the complaint against the U.S. government. The complaint argues that Babbitt was ambushed by USCP Lieutenant Michael Byrd. Byrd has a history of negligence and misconduct, according to Judicial Watch's investigations. That was the thing I didn't know. The guy that shot her actually had a lot of history, I guess. I don't know exactly what that means, right? I don't want to over-speculate, because it could be, people tend to make mountains out of molehills. We'll see. Kind of beautiful, but not. A little scary, but sort of what's happening in the world, too, with the weakening magnetic field. It's going to definitely cause you're going to see Aurora Borealis is significantly farther south in a lot of these storms. And yeah, the sun was all sorts of fun last week. I haven't paid attention to it at all today. I want to see where it's at. But again, we've been getting a lot of little coronal mass ejections, so it's caused some magnetic storms. Some interesting stuff has happened. Needless to say, volcanoes kind of seem to tie into some of that type of stuff a little bit. Mount Etna's volcano erupts. It disrupts flights at the Catania International Airport in Italy. So I don't know, significant maybe. Etna, I think, is somewhat common to erupt, not least uncommon. All said. A lot happening. Hard taking time off. For those that were upset that I took time off and didn't say anything, I can't. I just wish you guys understood that. I hope you understand it. You kind of can't. It's like you shouldn't post like I'm going out of town on your Facebook ever. You should never tell people that you're going out of town, because it makes it very easy to rob your house. One thing. So all said, just usually not a good idea to be too terribly forthcoming. And some trips I just can't take stuff with me and do it there. Like, that's just how it is. If I can, I will. If I can't, I won't. I love you guys. I will keep making videos every day I can, and I like to take Saturdays off. You guys know that. We're figuring it out. We're going to keep working the work, and we're going to keep walking the walk. But things are about to get interesting. Be as prepared as you can, guys. And if you're still in their system, get the heck out. Get the heck out. Don't rely on them. I mean, I've got the wellness company, like twc.health/OTF. Like, get your contagion kits, man. Make sure you've got those types of ingredients, because that's a definite on the table. Make sure you got some food and water. If you can, a little bit of cash. If you can go beyond that, then I would definitely think precious metals and stuff, and I wouldn't waste time. We've got a lot of great stuff. So please keep sticking with us. I want to keep trying to help you guys get through this as best I can. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.